Hi there, I'm Laura, the founder of Get Organized HQ, and I have been online talking about organizing for over 11 years. And so I've heard from a lot of you about your different struggles with organizing. And one of the top struggles that a lot of people have, and I have been in this boat as well, is with paper clutter. It just seems like the paper never ends. There's so much of it, and it's so hard to tame. So I'm going to give you my top 7 tips to tackle it. Number 1 tip, and this is what I tell everyone to start with, if you do nothing else, create a paper inbox and start putting your paper in there. So we want to stop this having paper on every horizontal surface because that's just stressful. I have been there and I just like everywhere I look, there's just paper. It makes everything look really cluttered. It makes you look disorganized even if you really are fairly organized. And it's not something I want to see. So the first thing we want to do is create a designated space where your paper is going to go and then put your paper in there. Now, many homes, I think there should be one inbox. I think there are some situations in which more than one inbox makes sense. Like, for example, I have one inbox in like the main area of my home. So when we come in, we've got the mail, papers are coming in, we have that. And then my office is on another level of the home, and that's where I actually process the paper. So I have another place that whenever I bring the paper to be processed, there's another inbox in my office. So 1 or 2 can make sense, but you don't want 50 of these. So for the actual inbox, it can be anything. All I really mean is a designated space to put the paper. So in my office, this is actually a file folder. I have a hanging file. There's no drawer. It's really easy to get to. And the first one is inbox. So the paper that I need to process just goes right in there. That's my inbox. Very simple. For upstairs, the inbox is more of an actual basket. You can even use a drawer. Like if there is a kitchen drawer, now I know drawer is usually prime real estate, but if there is one that has some empty space, or maybe there's something in your living room, a drawer with empty space, it can just be an empty drawer. It can be a basket. There's all sorts of baskets. And here's another tip about the inbox. If you find that there is a space in your home that typically gets stacks of paper, and you're struggling to get people or yourself, often I'm the problem to be honest, to put the paper in the inbox that you've designated, then place the inbox right where that paper is already naturally piling up. It may not be the ideal location as far as like what it looks like, but it's going to be better than having random paper stacked there, and it's going to be easier for people to put it in there because that's what they were already doing anyway. So that's one tip if you're struggling to get the inbox working. And I would also encourage you when you do this to go ahead and gather up all the paper in your home in one space, and then going forward, just always go ahead and put it in the inbox. One of the overarching principles in dealing with paper, but really dealing with anything and getting organized, is trash is your friend. So what I want you to do is go ahead and get rid of the total junk as quickly as possible. So if you want to recycle it, make sure that your recycling is easy to get to. I don't want you to have to go outside and go somewhere to recycle it, or you're not going to do it. So you need to make your recycling really easy to get to. And then as soon as you bring in the mail or whatever, get rid of those papers right away. It only takes not even a full minute because a lot of our mail is junk mail or store circulars. If you want to look at the store circulars, that's fine. Set them aside to look at. But if you don't look at them, definitely get rid of them. Also, you can consider maybe looking at them online. I don't have any stores where I am that don't have their circular online, so I don't really need to look at the one that comes in the mail. And if I do, if I have like a little bit of time when I am going through the mail, I will stand right there and just flip through the circular right then and there and then trash it. So if you flip the circular and you're like, oh, ground beef is $1.99 a pound, I should get that at whatever store, Meijer, then you write that down, you add that to your app on your phone, and then you don't need to keep the entire circular. There's really not a lot of reason to do that unless you truly are using them. And those are bulky and take up a lot of space. So you're going to go ahead and recycle those right away. All the junk mail that's like, here's this credit card offer, here's this other offer, all the things you don't care about, the little free magazines and all that. So you're going to reduce your stack of mail right then and there. The same is true with other papers that come in. So my kids are both in school and they always bring home, papers. And I throw those away almost right away as well. I usually wait until they've gone to bed so that they don't watch me throwing away their papers. Although I'm not hiding the fact that I'm doing it, but I do not need to hang on to their math test. I mean, they have a math test every week until another week or until another month to know that I don't need to keep this one. I try to keep one representative sample from each year that, and that's it. So a lot of those papers that I know I don't want to keep, I trash right then. But here's what I'm not doing. I'm not looking at every paper and really trying to decide if I want to keep it. I am just trashing the ones that I 100% know I don't need to keep these. And then if I'm not sure about it, I'm going to leave it in there because I don't want this to be a 5-minute daily activity. I want this to be a 30-second activity so I can do it every single day faithfully. And then later when I'm actually processing the paper is when I'll take a little bit more time to decide whether or not I really do want to hang on to a certain paper or not. Another thing you can do to help with your paper clutter is to cut down on the amount that comes in. The less that comes in, the less you have to deal with. Now, there's not actually a ton I think you can do here. There's these do not mail lists you can try to get on. I don't know if they really help. I don't think you're going to change the amount of paper that your kids bring home from school. So there's limited things that you can do. But one thing that is helpful is most places these days that send you bills or even statements, like my retirement account sends me a statement and things like that, you can get them paperless. So they'll email them to you and you don't have to mess with that paper. And that just cuts down on the paper that you're dealing with. And even if you feel like, hey, I need to save this bill for some reason, you can save the bills that come in your email. You just save them to your computer. So that's one thing you can do is wherever possible, try to opt for the paperless options. And I feel like more and more places are encouraging us to go that paperless route. It also helps the planet. This one is huge, and I feel like a lot of people struggle with this, but you don't need to save every paper and every receipt. It's just not necessary. I used to do this. I don't know why. I thought I had to save everything. So I would go to the store and buy a gallon of milk, and I would save that receipt from Aldi or whatever. And I mean, I don't know what I thought I was going to do with it. I had like this accordion file, and I would save them by month. And first of all, it would be hard to find it if I needed to because I've got that whole month in there. And the second thing is, like, I'm not going to do anything with that receipt. Like, I'm literally consuming the food. I'm not going to return it. There's just no benefit to it. I personally use a credit or a debit card for all my purchases. So I already have an online record to track my spending. Now, if you do want to use your receipt to track your spending, then obviously you're going to need to hold on to it long enough to enter it into whatever budget app or spreadsheet that you're using, and then you can toss it. But unless I think it's something I'm going to return, I don't hold on to the receipt. I don't need gas receipts. I don't need food receipts. I mean, those I try to opt to not even get them. So some stores these days, and I really love this, are giving you the option to not even get the receipt. You can decline it, and I do that whenever possible. And a lot of them have their own apps, like Target has their own app, Walgreens has their own app, where it kind of saves your receipt on there. So even if you need to make a return, you just show the barcode on your app, and it's done for you. So there's no reason to save them at all. The ones that I would save are for like big purchases, like furniture, big appliances, computers, electronics, things like that. Those I will save if I do get a paper receipt. And then sometimes clothing, because I will occasionally return clothing when it like doesn't fit right, or I realize I already had something like it, or just wasn't what I expected. So those I will save. Other than that, if I don't think I'm going to return it, just put it in the trash right away or the recycle. Do not hold on to it. Now, I will admit that this is a little hard to do, but you're going to thank yourself so much if you do that. And that is, you need to decide once what you're going to do with each category of paper that comes in. What you don't want to be doing is getting a piece of paper and being like, where should I put this paper? How should I save it? Should I scan it? Should I put it in this file? If so, what file? You need to sit down up front and make that decision once and for all. So now the decision is already made, and when it comes time to go through the paper, you're executing the plan. So I know that when I get this bill, what I do is I pay it and I scan it, or what I do is I pay it and I shred it. I know that when I get a piece of children's artwork that I want to save, what I do is I set it in this pile to go in their memory book or something. But you need to have a plan for each piece of paper. And then if a piece of paper comes in and you didn't have it in your plan already, that's when you stop and you say, okay, when I get these types of paper, this is what I'm going to do with it. But deciding once and then executing the plan is so much easier, because it's really hard when you're processing paper, you're trying to get through it quickly, and you're also having to make a million decisions. Instead, make them once. Now, if this feels a little overwhelming to you, I understand. It does for a lot of people. It's hard to make these decisions, but I walk you through the process and help you with it in my paperless system course. So be sure to click the link down below if you're interested in really diving even deeper in this topic and getting your paper under control once and for all. I did this, maybe it was 3 or 4 years ago. I think it was right after the pandemic. And I am so grateful, because the relief that it brought, finally getting it like tackled once and for all, has been amazing. Speaking of my paperless system, I actually encourage you to go paperless. Now, here's what that does not mean. Listen, like, I've already lost some of you, I know, but keep listening. That does not mean, hey, I got to scan every piece of paper that I get and I can't keep any papers. No. It's paper-less, which means less paper, not paperless, not no paper. That's a mistake that a lot of people think, is they think it's all or nothing. They think, okay, I'm not techie, it's uncomfortable for me to put computers, papers on the computer, and I'm gonna have to like just scan everything and I can't have any paper anymore and I really like paper. You don't have to do that. It's about having less paper. It's about gradually having more and more things digitized, or even deciding, hey, this is like recycle trash category, I don't even need it. That's what it's about. So my system will teach you how to have less paper and scan more of it. And I highly encourage you to consider going digital. It is so much easier. It is a game changer. It allows you to do several things. First of all, it obviously takes up less space because you don't have to have these like file cabinets. Secondly, it allows you to save more paper without having to stress over it. Because if you had a piece of like physical, files, you would have to, each page would take up a lot of space and you couldn't be as liberal with holding on to things. In my case, if in doubt, I just save it because it's not going to take up much more space. That doesn't mean that I'm saving things I know I don't need, but if I'm in doubt, I can save it. It also, and this I think is the game changer of all game changers, I don't have to stress about what category it goes in because I can put it in more than one. And that is the beauty of a digital system. An online digital system is that you can tag things with multiple categories, because when you have a physical piece of paper and you're putting it in a file, you can only put it in one file. I mean, I suppose you could try to Xerox it and put it in another one, but that would be crazy lot of trouble. I don't think anyone actually does that. So you have to make a choice. It fits in here. But there are some things, I kind of want to put it in a file for my daughter, but I also want it to be in medical because it's medical and it's also related to 2024. You can put it in all of them, and that just makes it way easier and way less stress and easier for you to find. Here is the other thing. Okay, this is going to sound crazy, but I'm just going to say it because it's absolutely true. You can be way less, yes, I said it, less organized when you have a digital system for your papers. That means, okay, when I scan in a paper, not every, but many of the papers that I scan in, unless I know specifically what I'm going to need to find them for, I don't even tag them. I just scan them. They're done. That's all I need to do. I don't even need to file it in a special folder. They're all in one place and they are searchable. So when it says electric bill, I just type in electric. There's only so many electric bills, even my entire life, that I've paid, and they're kind of in order that I scan them. So it's pretty easy to find the one that I need. So you can actually be a little bit less organized and it's less tedious. The other reason I love having more papers digitized is that they're more secure and I'm less likely to lose them. So papers that I have only physically, if there is any kind of natural disaster, there could be theft, flood, fire, all of these things, I could easily lose them. But if I have them online, what is called on the cloud, which just means they're backed up, they're not on a physical hard drive, then I'm less likely to lose them and they're accessible anywhere. I have all mine accessible on my phone. So wherever I go when I need to look something up, it is right there. When it comes to kids' papers and artwork, and if you have kids, you have tons of this. I do. My kids make me artwork like every single day, plus all the school papers. Here's the deal. If you want to save things, you don't have to save them physically. You can take a photo of them and save them that way. And if you really want to get fancy, you can have like a white poster board that you always take a photo on that poster board. And then you can choose what you do with it. Maybe you just leave them in your camera roll and you have a folder on your camera roll for your kids' artwork and you can look through it that way, which is great. Or you could make it into a photo book and you could have a printed book that they can look through, but you don't have to save every single one physically. I hope these tips have helped you get your paper clutter under control. And if you want to dive even deeper on this topic and have me help you go step by step with getting a system for all of your paper, then you're definitely going to want to check out my course, The Paperless System. The link is below, so go ahead and check that out.